I am here with the amazing Wendyy Bailey. Wendyy was honored as a 2020 top influencer by Success Women's Conference. She has been supporting entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, industry leaders, and emerging thought leaders for more than 18 years. I am so grateful to have your wisdom here today. She is called a force of nature and trendsetter in the coaching industry because of her fearless approach to innovation. She is a master business coach and income acceleration mentor, sought after coach and sales speaker for her fierce and dynamic dedication to inspiring individuals, groups, and organizations to create extraordinary results. She is affectionately called Wendyy by her clients, business associates, and colleagues. She is an internationally known thought leader and has made a global impact in coaching as an innovative CEO and mentor coach, serving across the US and in countries like the UK and Italy. Oh my goodness, Wendyy, it is such an honor to have you here with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. I appreciate the opportunity.
On your mom's 90th birthday, no less.
Yeah, that's a big deal to me. 90 says there's definitely longevity in my lineage. So if I don't screw it up, I'm going to live a long, full life. And I like that.
I love it. I love it. You have already accomplished so much, and it's like you're just getting started. So tell us a bit about this month for you. I know you have a lot going on. There's a book launch. You're doing a lot of things. Talk about hit the ground running in the new year. What has been going on for you?
Wow, a lot has been going on for me. I've finally onboarded a video production team for my video podcast. And what it meant is me bringing it all in-house. So that's a big deal. So they're up and running and we're moving. And the bonus episodes for my video podcast, I used to do those pre-recorded. And as of last week, I started live streaming the bonus episodes across multiple platforms. So that's a big deal. I've continued to give away the beta version of my third book, which will actually be launched next month because I need to get the feedback and make the revisions and make it really, really great for people when it goes on sale next month. And so the website for the podcast is also in progress and will be launched early next month. So within the next couple of weeks. And what else? There's so much going on. I'm just trying to keep up with it all. Oh, I'm finishing up my signature course. It's a part of my flagship brand, the one I launched last year when I launched the podcast. So Profitable Coaching Conversations, the online course, the podcast, and the book will all really live and breathe in their fullness next month for sure. So that's a lot happening that I'm getting ready for.
Okay, let's start with Profitable Coaching Conversations.
Okay.
How does one have one of those or many of those?
Yeah, many of those is really the where you want to go. When you think about sales conversations, and this is philosophically what I believe, every conversation you enter into with a potential ideal client is a sales conversation and could possibly lead to a profitable coaching conversation. As long as you understand the pieces of it, then you can ensure that those conversations are profitable. And here's what I mean. First, you've got to really know who your ideal client is very well. Then you can spot them in the sales conversation and you know exactly what things to say to invite them into a greater dialogue with you. Your connection is all about building the relationship, establishing rapport, and making a connection that really shows that you're about service, that reflects your expertise, and a willingness to support the person with whom you're speaking. Then it can lead definitely to a profitable coaching conversation, which is all about conversion. Like I didn't want to get too much into the detail. I don't use the word closing. I believe conversion is what you're doing because you're actually helping someone change from a fee client, a free-based client to a fee-based client. So there's transformation in that. There's also transformation in that if you're a coach, you're walking that person through the process of getting to know, like, trust you and invest in you. and they're investing in you because they believe working with you will help deliver the transformation that they seek. So it's really kind of nuanced, but if you understand the important pieces, they can all be profitable coaching conversations.
Do you tend to believe more in a one call close, as some people refer to them, or is it more of a two-step process for you, or is it rather individualized based on the person you're speaking to? Do
I
you do a triage call and then a proper sales call? I'm curious what process you really love and believe in.
The process I really love and believe in is the nurturing of the relationship from the very beginning. And, I've been in my business 18 and a half years now, so I don't really do the triage call. I do the You've heard me, you've heard of my expertise, you've seen my expertise, you've seen testimonials from clients I've successfully supported, you've seen the real numbers of all of that. And so you book a session with me, and that means making an investment in coaching with me for one session. We go into that one session. I usually guarantee at least 3 strategies, tips, or nuggets that they walk away with from that 60-minute session. And from there, I refer them to additional programs and services as I see them fitting and needing at that time. So it's kind of a hybrid, if you will. It's sort of a combination of, let me let you see what I'm capable of. Let me let you hear my expertise. Let me talk to you a little bit about my expertise, and then you buy from me. And you buy that one session. And then from there, if we want to continue working together, I have other programs and services that I can direct you to. So it's a little bit of a mix of that. And philosophically, I believe in the long game. I don't believe in the short game, so to speak, the short sale. The short sale for me is, I've got products on my website. You see them, you need them, you buy them. That's my short sale. But if I'm talking to someone who is a high-end client and they really do need hand-holding, or they really need direct support, or they need something very quickly, then the answer is for them to go ahead and book the session. That means invest in that 60-minute coaching session with me. And then from there, we'll see what makes sense.
It's like taking the time to date your customers, right? We're not jumping right into bed with anybody.
Exactly.
I was reflecting on data the other day, and I realized, wow, a lot of my recent clients have come from months of just spending time with me and hanging out. And when you say playing the long game, I love that, because that is really what this is all about. And you certainly have, with your decades of experience in this field. I'm curious, what have you seen change the most in this industry, and in business and online business and sales? What have you seen change the most from when you started to now?
Well, I think first of all, there's a saturation factor of people calling themselves coaches without any formal training, without any real experience or education around what coaching is and how it works. People just start telling people what to do and assume that they're coaching. Coaching is not telling people what to do. Coaching is not advising. Coaching is not teaching. Coaching is a set of tools, a methodology that you use, a way of questioning people that guides them to the next step along their journey into various levels of transformation and success. So when you understand what coaching is, then you really step into who you are as a coach. I believe all coaching expertise starts with formal coach training. I'm not saying go get certified. I'm saying go and understand the tools and the methodology that you're using as a coach. And then you can actually craft your own authentic way of being a coach, because you've got tools to do that. As a lifelong learner, I have trained at 4 different coaching organizations: Coach U, Coachville, Coach Training Alliance, the Fearless Institute, and Fearless Living Institute. And then there's a 5th one where I trained to be an NLP practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. And each one of those has given me like a richness, a depth to my coaching because I already knew what skills I had as a coach. I already built on what was previously taught me and how I learned coaching and the set of skills and tools and methodology. So I think the mistake or the thing that's different is there are a lot of people calling themselves coaches, and they're not coaching. Okay, that's the first.
Mm.
The second thing is people are a lot more savvy about what they really are looking for in a coach. And I love that, because when people are out there and they're just kind of blowing smoke and pretending to coach or thinking they're coaching and they're really not, they are doing more harm to the industry, and they're doing more harm to the people they serve than they deserve, than is called for. I just say take your time, get the formal coach training, allow your skills to unfold around that authentically, and then you can call yourself a coach. Then you can be a coach. Case in point, I met with a new client yesterday, and she said, well, I don't think I'm coaching, but I don't know what to call myself so people understand what I do. And that's pretty common. You know, there are coaches out there who are calling themselves coaches, people calling themselves coaches, and they don't really understand what that is. So that's the big thing. That those are the first two things. The other thing that I thought of as your question, when I look at the marketplace, it's very different than it used to be for everyone, especially during the pandemic, right? During the pandemic, people came online in droves,
Mm.
right? And so marketing and internet marketing has changed because of that. There's still this long game that's necessary, in my opinion, when you are a coach and you're out there, looking for potential clients. It's still a long game. It's not a boom, boom, bam. And I love that the pandemic has brought people online in droves. And I also love that people are patiently waiting on the long game. They're looking for someone who they can know, like, trust, and experience, and ultimately invest in.
Mm. Yeah, I think that it points to so much abundance that is out there.
Mhm.
Yes, it is such a saturated field, and I believe that there are so many people out there that there is a coach or
For
more
everyone.
coaches for them. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Um, I know that you recently, or you're in the process of undergoing a rebranding. And I believe that we are always evolving and our brand should always evolve. So, talk to us a bit about what that journey has been like for you.
Well, and to be honest, I'm really not in the process of rebranding. I'm really just clarifying that I have a flagship brand now that's part of my overall business. And the reason I came up with it was, do you know who Steve Olsher is? He's like the podcast guy who's teaching people and talking to people about becoming a podcaster. Well, I've joined his 5 day challenge. Once I decided I was going to do a podcast, I joined his 5 day challenge, and it was really, really good. And he said something that stuck with me. He said, if you have a brand, an online course, and a podcast that are all the same name, you've got the podcast domination trifecta. And it
Mm.
kind of stuck with me when he said it. And I went, okay, brand, online course, and podcast. At that point, I already knew I wanted to name my podcast Profitable Coaching Conversations. I've had the name, I've had the brand, I built the program like 8 years ago. Right. So I already had the brand, but I said, you know what? This is going to be the flagship brand of my overall brand, Business Beyond Limits. So the podcast name came first. And then I knew I was going to create a book from the activity guide that I used with the program. So then the book came. And then the online course made sense for me then. I was able to take the program I already have. I worked with a course creator, and I broke it down into modules and lessons and started to record the content, build a blueprint out for it. And so it all just really came full circle. Everything, it looks like at this point, everything except for the online course is going to launch in February. So the podcast has already launched. It launched in July 2020. The um, the book will launch next month, and then close to the beginning of March, the online course will launch. So it's just been very strategic, the timing of it all. And I really am kind of a go with the flow kind of person in terms of dates and timing and marketing and launch and all of that kind of stuff. And, my team has had a couple of hiccups. My online business manager had a couple of deaths in her family. And, I don't push. I'm just like, okay, let's readjust our timeline and let's do what we need to do. She's got experience working on Amazon and online publishing specifically. So I knew I needed her to be part of the book. So I'm like, okay, if we need to adjust our timelines, let's do that. And then for the online course, that's taken a little bit technologically because you're building out a whole portal for the online experience for the customers who enroll in it. So again, a lot of really cool stuff happening. Anytime you launch a brand, to your question, anytime you launch a brand, relaunch, rebrand, whatever you do, you're doing it so that the marketplace has clarity about what you're doing. So the marketplace has clarity about what you do. And so for me, even though I created this program 8 years ago, what was real for me was the marketplace needed to see it and hear it and embrace it in a totally new yet very powerful way. So that's why all of it is happening in the timeline that I've just described.
Did you always have clarity, or did that come several years in the business, or what has that experience been like for you?
Great question. I think for me, I don't think I've always had clarity, but I've always asked the question, what makes this clear? How can I make this clear? What am I doing and how do I make sure the marketplace knows what I'm doing? How do I do things in a way that ensures I stay in my lane? The thing that I see a lot in the marketplace, Stephanie, is there are people out there who are sort of the going after the topic of the day. Everybody's teaching people how to write books or create Amazon bestsellers. Oh, well, I'm going to teach people that too. Everyone's teaching people how to become a speaker and get speaking gigs. Oh, they're doing that. I'm going to do that too. And the thing that I think has helped me tremendously in 18 and a half years is staying in my lane, staying true to what I do and I do well, and not following what everybody else is doing, not following the trends, not trying to model what I do in my business after what other people are doing. So I think that's what it's been for me. And I just keep asking myself the question, what is my client looking for now? How has my client changed? And what can I do to serve my client more fully? And very clearly, in 2016, so 5 years ago now, that is when I actually truly, fully rebranded. And I knew when I came back to the marketplace after being out due to illness for about 15, 18 months, not only did the marketplace need clarity, I needed clarity. So I needed to sort of marshal all of the things, that I've always done and look at my body of work very intentionally. And, Business Beyond Limits was born. My income acceleration roadmap was clear. It defined the 6 areas that I work with my clients on. I'm able to spot my ideal client in different places within that body of work, that diagram that I have for the roadmap. And it just makes a difference. Staying in my lane and continuing to ask myself what's next and what do my clients need and how can I support them? Those are the important questions to stay the course.
Was part of your process having an understanding and connection to what your zone of genius is?
Without question. Yeah, without question. I didn't want to be, like I said, the topic of the day. I didn't want to follow that way of thinking. I kept asking myself, how can I do more of what I love? How can I do what I do well? And, maybe add something to it or maybe evolve it into something different. But the question is always, what does my client need? And how do I serve my client needs?
So I'm just going to make the assumption that sales and teaching sales is one of your things in the zone of genius. And I'm curious, have you always been good at
sales and marketing? Sales and marketing.
Have you always been good at sales?
Yes, I've always been good at sales and marketing. And I put the two together because if you put them in order, it's marketing, then sales. Marketing is what you do to get known in the marketplace. Sales is what you do to get paid. That's about the conversion and the mastery and elevating your sales skills. What I realized before I rebranded in 2016, what I realized is that even though I had been teaching something different over like a 7 or 8 year period, what I was really helping people on was marketing. How do you create a group coaching program that is marketable? How do you create a group coaching program that is engaging, that is compelling, that is attractive to your most ideal clients? That's marketing. Like that's totally marketing. And then the sales part of it came when they had to put it to the marketplace and began to generate business from their group coaching program. So, yes, I've always taught marketing and sales. And when I rebranded it reminded me of what I'm good at. It kept me in the zone of genius that I knew I worked with and operated in so well, for
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
So I believe that marketing and sales can be nurtured. Those are two skills that we can, like, you don't have to be coming out of the womb a rock star marketer
Right.
or salesperson. You can nurture this. What would you say to people watching who, hearing you say that this has always been a talent for you? What would you say to those people to give encouragement that it is something that you can learn? Of course, outside
Mhm.
of hiring someone amazing like
Yeah.
yourself to teach
Yeah.
them, but any nuggets of inspiration or encouragement around that?
Yeah, the thing that I like to share with my clients is you've got to have what I call as a breakthrough strategy, right? Your breakthrough strategy is no matter what's going on, if you hit a bump in the road, you've got some tools, some tips, some strategy, or some aspect of a strategy that reminds you of why you're doing what you're doing and why it's so important to the people that you serve. That is how you approach everything. And marketing is no different. If you're sitting there and you're saying, oh, I hate marketing. Oh, I don't want to do marketing. What I suggest you do is take some deep breaths and understand that if you're serious about being an entrepreneur, if you want to stay the course and be successful in your business, marketing has to be part of it. That's
Yeah.
the first part. So accept I've got to be marketing, right? The second part is now that you know you've got to be marketing, it is crucial for the success of your business to do marketing or to be in a space of marketing. It means that you have to be intentional and strategic. And that means you're not just posting all over social media. You're not just going live without any direction or strategy. It means that you're clear first on who your ideal client is. Then you know what platforms that she's going to hang out, where you're going to meet her. Then you meet her in those spaces and places, and you begin to talk to her. You begin to converse with her. That's how you make the connection. That's how you create the relationship. And from there, you nurture and you build trust based on those kind of connections. So marketing doesn't have to be a daunting thing. It can be something you really believe in. You know that you're there to serve a specific group of people. You go to the right platforms to serve them and to connect with them. You add value where you can, and then you invite them to become part of a conversation with you where you can sell them, you can convert them, you can challenge them and ask them to invest in you and hire
Mm. So what I heard you say was the
you.
first piece is acceptance,
Mhm,
accepting that this is a part of the long game strategy, right?
mhm,
The
exactly.
second thing is getting out there and connecting.
Mhm,
And the third thing is being of service, adding value to those connections.
exactly.
That's your marketing strategy right there.
Mhm.
It's as
That's it.
simple as that.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. It
And
doesn't have to be hard. And I'm really very much an extrovert, Stephanie. And what I found is it comes easy to me because I like connecting. I like chatting.
mm,
I like, reaching out to this person. I like commenting on things people are saying or doing. I like sharing sort of what I call shenanigans on my social media profiles where I'm just, being who I am. I'm Wendyy, right? And I know that that may not come easy to everyone, But when you relax and accept that marketing is really about making connections with people, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you can do it. And you can
Mm,
do it in a way that's authentic for you, that's not, the ugly side of marketing and sales.
mm. That's so true. I'm so glad you said that because I find that a lot of coaches can relate to being more on the introverted side.
Hmm.
And that's where it can be challenging when they think, oh my gosh, I have to put myself out there and market and be a marketer. I just want to coach. But really, if you just slow it down and be intentional and have that one conversation at a time,
Hmm.
you're marketing.
Yep, exactly. And it's just as easy as that sounds.
Yeah. Mm.
Mhm.
What is the question or the fear that you hear the most from your clients when it comes um, to sales conversations?
Um, I don't know that it's so much a fear as it reveals a fear. Let me say it that way. I think that undercharging and not charging at a level that represents the expertise they have, that
Mm,
is a real common challenge that I hear from my clients. They're undercharging. They're charging by the hour for coaching, and you can't charge by the hour for coaching. They're charging by based on the number of widgets that are part of their coaching program. When I say widgets, I mean certain number of sessions that are X number of minutes long per week
mm,
or per month. They're charging by the widgets, and you can't charge for coaching by the widgets or by the hour. And coaching is not linear, so you can't look at it that way. And what I share with them is coaching is really about the transformation. Your job as a coach is to move your client from one place to another place. And in creating that transformation, it's what the client longs for, it's what the client needs, it's what the client is asking for. And you have the tools and skills to move her to that transformation. Transformation in and of itself sounds intangible, but when you look at the results, you look at the outcomes, then it becomes tangible. And you can tie tangible or tangibility. You can tie the fact that it's tangible to numbers. You can tie the fact that it's tangible to efficiency, productivity.
mm,
Those are tangible results that you can name, that your client can name. So once you understand what you're really doing in coaching, and that it is about the transformation, you can begin to see the value of what you're doing in a way that there's no way you would undercharge. When you really understand that, there's no way you would undercharge.
mm. It's
So it's
outcomes-based pricing is what I hear.
totally about outcomes. It's totally about results. It's totally about the transformation.
Mm,
And I like to use like either what I do as a sales coach or what a weight loss coach may do. As a sales coach, the transformation is people are able to increase their income. So I say very clearly, you can double, triple, quadruple, quintuple your income after working with me as a result of working with me. And I have testimonials that reflect that. Oh, I've received a 200% return on my investment. I tripled my investment of working with her.
mm,
Those are the kind of testimonials I hear from clients. That's the transformation that I have social proof about. For the
right.
weight loss coach, it's, they lost so many pounds over a certain period of time. They learned how to eat differently and now they're healthier and they, move more. Maybe they're exercising more than they did, whatever it is. But you've got to know what that transformation looks like, and then you can articulate it to your clients. Like I
Mm.
do a whole class on this, Stephanie. So, you just wound me
Oh,
up and I start talking. So this is a definite spot that I love to talk with my clients about.
mm. I love it. I love that we're having the conversation because I think that something that's really commonly believed or misunderstood. So you and I have ROI based offers, right? We
Mhm.
are helping people create that tangible ROI, as you mentioned,
Yep.
for people selling weight loss or health coaching. They might think, well, I my offer isn't rooted in a tangible ROI. I can't
Yes, it
possibly
is.
charge 5 figures for this coaching. And yes, you can. When you are clear on the aspects that you're speaking to, and able to link them to the areas of their life that they are going to see a direct impact in, you're going to lose that 20 pounds. And if you're a professional woman showing up to a board meeting, you might deliver a more productive, a stronger meeting and get a promotion. If you are losing that 20 pounds and you are not having sex with your spouse, maybe the intimacy is restored. I mean, these are very, and I don't really like.
They're real.
Yes.
They're real and tangible.
They're real. And people will pay to get those things back in their life.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. If you could say one thing, if there was a message that you just had that was what you wanted everyone to know when it comes to sales and building profitable businesses, what would that message be?
I think it's recognizing that your genius, your gifts have immeasurable benefit to your most ideal clients. And as much as you may see yourself, hear yourself, think that there are other people out in the marketplace that do the same thing that you do, recognize that no one does it the way you do it. No one does it the way you do it. And your most ideal client is waiting on you to serve her. So you do her a disservice if you don't show up in the marketplace, marketing and talking and connecting and establishing that nurturing relationship with them, the ideal client. They're waiting on you. So you do them a disservice if you don't show up in the marketplace ready to serve. So that's what I would say.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I saw you cheering like, yes.
Speaking to my heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do not believe in failure. I believe that that is feedback always. And I'm curious, for you, has there ever been anything that in hindsight was incredible feedback for you that perhaps steered you in another direction, or in hindsight you would have handled or went about it differently?
Yeah, I think the greatest and best feedback I received was when after I rebranded and I came back to the marketplace, and my mentor at the time, and I say mentor, he's like a digital mentor that I reached out to, arranged time to speak with, and when I talked with him, I was really in a place where I felt stuck because I needed a team to grow, but I didn't think I could get a team. And what he said to me was, first of all, you breathe, because when I was talking about it, it was very emotional for me because I felt overwhelmed. And what he said to me was, breathe. And then he said, what I want you to do is to move forward as though you have a team and start bringing people in to support you. And when I did that, I couldn't see it when he first said it, but he kept talking and he kept telling me, you've got to have a team, just move forward to get the team that you need, and things will fall into place. And that is exactly what happened. When I started to move forward as though I had everything I needed to bring in a team, my team started to develop. The right people came out from the woodwork to support me. And it was just amazing that I ended up relieving the overwhelm, getting a team in place. It was a great team for that time. I've changed a couple of times team wise, but believing that and acting as though I was already in a place to have the team rather than waiting until I was in a place that I thought I was ready to have the team. So sometimes you're in these spaces where it's important for you to behave and act on a realization that may not be a realization yet, because it puts you in the energy of it really happening. It puts you in the energy of, and the realistic space and place of, you can do this. And it's a mindset thing. You know what I mean? It's totally a mindset thing. I've got to believe that I deserve to have a team. I've got to believe that I deserve to be able to focus on my genius areas and let the team do those other things. Whatever it is that you want to have, but you're thinking, oh, I can't do it yet, or I've got to wait until I get to this place before I can do it. Just believing that you have it already, that you have what you need already, and then acting on it, I think was the best advice, the best mentoring and coaching that I ever got from someone.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
It was good too. Let me just tell you, I was like, wow. Because I just
Mind
never
blown.
saw myself moving in that space. And when I did, the windows and doors just opened up.
Mm. What a shift in perspective. And that is such a new paradigm for many women business owners, I think, to
Mhm.
lean into.
Yep.
I just came up against this a couple months ago. I was intending to bring my first team member on, and I had those thoughts of, well, you're only 2 years in business. You don't get to have that yet.
Hmm.
And thankfully, I didn't listen to that voice.
Good.
And
Good.
she was
Yeah.
onboarded last week. And Wendyy, why this morning before we got on this call, I was outside having a walk. I said thank you to the universe because I
Hmm.
felt like, oh my gosh, her support feels amazing.
Hmm.
And I allowed myself to have that. And
It
we
makes
we
a
all,
difference.
we
I'm
all get to
telling
do
you.
that. Yes.
I'm telling you. What is
Mm,
the phrase that I've heard, and I love it every time I hear it? When you start moving in purpose, the universe conspires to support you.
yes. Is that an Esther Hicks? I've definitely heard
I
that
think it
before.
is.
I
Yeah, I think
love
it
that
is.
so much.
But I've seen it so many times.
Yeah,
Even when I've doubted, I've seen it when I move in purpose, the universe conspires to support
yeah,
me. The windows open, the doors open, people show up in my world, and I'm like, wow, where did you come from? You
yeah.
know?
Yes. It starts with the intention, but then moving your feet with
Mhm,
certainty,
mhm.
right? Because the
Exactly.
universe responds to our certainty.
Exactly.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Mm. I'm curious what your take is, and this is shifting directions a bit. What is your take on sales scripts? To
I
script
believe
or not script?
to script, definitely.
Mm,
Because what I've discovered is if you write down what you want to say, um, it helps you when you're in the conversation. It helps you when you're in the session. It helps you when you are, talking sales. It helps you to have the language that is authentic. And the way that I teach my clients is we start with a general script. They kind of fill in the blanks. They add their expressions, their isms, and after they understand like the purpose of each aspect of it, they can write something that is their own. And the
mm,
more they read it, the more they follow that script, the more it becomes one with them,
yeah,
and it becomes natural, it becomes authentic, it becomes easy, and they don't have to say, uh-oh, what am I going to say and when am I going to say it, when am I supposed to say that and what am I supposed to say. It becomes very natural, and they instinctively can hear what their client is asking for, what their client is saying, and how they can respond to it easily. So
you
I
said
believe in scripts. Yes.
you said something so important, um, and it's to understand the purpose of it and why you're saying this thing at this point. And I
Yep.
think that that is so key. And it can be so tempting for many people to just get that sexy script and run with it. And two very different people can use the same script and have a completely different result, right?
Right.
And part of understanding why you're doing what you're doing and why you're saying what you're saying is so it's a big part of it. What do you feel is the percentage of the efficacy of the script, and what percentage is the mindset, the energy, the embodiment, the belief that you're showing up with when you have
I
that
think
conversation?
Great question. I think the script is secondary. You
Mm,
know, I think mindset is everything. Like that's my personal mantra. So mindset, I would say, is like 90%, and 10% is the script. And the
Wow.
reason I say those percentages are so like they are 90 and 10 is because you can have a script, but if you don't believe what you're there to do in terms of serving the client, you can have the best script ever and you're still not going to lead to conversion. It's not going to lead to conversion. Like I've been in conversation with clients, in sessions with clients, and we've been role playing and using their script, and I can tell they're reading a script. I'm like, I don't need to know you're reading a script. This is where you get to be you. The script was to give you some foundation upon which to build. It's not supposed to be what guides and drives the dialogue. You drive and guide the dialogue. That's mindset.
Mm.
So 90% mindset, 10% script. The script is only there to guide. The script is not for you to read. The script is not for you. That's why I believe in making sure you make scripts your own. You understand the purpose and the nuances, and then you make it your own with your expressions, with your isms, whatever that is. And the more you repeat that process, the better you get at it. So, if we're in a role playing situation and I throw something out, you know how to deal with that, whether it's in the script or not, because you've done it so many times, you understand what I'm asking or what I've said that's thrown something at you so that you're prepared for a real client when you talk to a real client.
Mm. What is the length of time? And thank you for breaking that down. It's really helpful. I'm curious, what is the length of time on average that it takes for a person to come in, maybe with very minimal sales training in the past, and kind of go from A to Z, where they do start to develop the skill and build the skill and be quite proficient in having those conversations? Is it like 3 months or 12 months, or what is the average timeline?
Well, what I like to give people as like a starting point is 5 hours.
Mm.
It's 5 hours. And typically it's heavily front end loaded. So we do 3 hours and then we do 2 hours over like a few weeks, like a month. So if you look at it that way, it's 5 hours over, 60 days or something, right? Or it's 5 hours over 30 to 45 days. Because when you focus and you concentrate, and we're working specifically on scripts, then it takes time for you to practice. It takes time for us to role play. It takes time for you to get into a space where this is real and comfortable for you. Then you can go and try it on a few people and come back and get feedback, and we can tweak whatever you're doing in terms of your sales skills. It's not something that has to take an awful long period of time. It's something that with concentrated, very intentional effort, you can master your own script in, like I said, 5 hours over 30, 45, 60 days.
Wow. So for
Mhm.
anyone who is listening and is just dying to get on that train, how do you prefer that people connect with you?
People can connect with me at sellwithinfluence.com. Sellwithinfluence.com. Everything starts with a 1 hour session with me. We meet on Zoom. We talk about what you want and need. And from there, we move into that 5 hours if that's what you want to do. Or I'll
Beautiful.
point you to some other program that might be more appropriate. Depends on what you're showing up with and how you want to move forward.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And last question before we let you go here.
Okay.
You said there's kind of an inside secret, if you will, regarding Wendyy, what your clients adoringly refer to you as. And I would love if you could share it with us.
Great question. I love sharing this story. I was online from the very first day I hung up my shingle as a coach in 2002. And even though I had a website, I wasn't really doing anything to leverage my online status. And in 2006 is when I started to come online. And one of the first platforms I went to was LinkedIn. And there were 25 profiles for Wendyy Bailey on LinkedIn alone. So I was like, okay, I've got to do something different. And I had actually been participating in a close networking organization where, you meet once a week, you stand up, you say your 60-second infomercial, and people pass you leads, right? And I would always stand up and I would introduce myself using my middle initial as Wendyy Bailey. And a couple of people there started calling me Wendyy. So when I saw those 25 Wendyy Baileys on LinkedIn, I started distinguishing myself by adding the Y everywhere else, like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, every place I go, it's Wendyy Y Bailey. And I tell people all the time, if you Google Wendyy Bailey, you get the musician who was on my mailing list for a number of years, the psychologist, the attorney, the professor, the college professor. But if you Google Wendyy Y Bailey, you get me all day long for at least 3 or 4 pages on Google. So yeah, that's why it became a brand thing. It helped me stand out in the marketplace. And I actually insist on people calling me Wendyy Y now. And my mom, who turns 90 today, even calls me Wendyy Y.
Ah,
Yeah.
I love it. That is so awesome. That is such a cool story. And we're just so grateful to have you here. We are wishing your mom a very happy birthday. Save us a piece of cake.
Absolutely.
And just,
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
we hope you come back again. Thank you so much, Wendyy
I
Y.
promise I will. I
All
will. Thank you
right.
so much. Take care.